As a leader in industrial lubrication equipment, what types of machines do y'all focus on at Maglube?
Almost everything. Bandsaws, routers, mills, lathes, roll formers, benders, punch presses, sanders, grinders, deep drilling, chain lubrication. If there's heat or friction, we can help.
Now, is that primarily like metalworking or?
It's mostly metalworking, but it goes beyond that. We are in the wood industry, and we're also in chain lubrication. You can imagine big factories taking chains to move, let's say, cars around to a different section of the assembly line. We can actually keep the chains lubricated to maintain their integrity.
With so many applications, how do you know which system to build?
Several different variables. First of which is how many points of lubrication is required, and that really determines how many pumps or how big that system's going to be. The second thing we look at is how do you want to activate the system. Since it's a pneumatic system, there's always air traveling through it, so the system can be activated from a pilot valve or slide valve to manually activate it. We can also wire it into the PLC using a 24 volt, 110, 240 dual rated solenoids. It's just depending on when do you want the system to activate. Say when a spindle becomes active and it starts cutting metal, or when a drill advances, or the arm of a bandsaw lowers, that signal can activate our system, just so there's not any wasted lubrication and it's only being used when it needs to be used.
Okay, so going a little deeper into that, how do you determine the best nozzle or the delivery system to best apply the lubricant to the cutting tool?
Well, the nozzles is probably, in my opinion, the most important aspect to run a successful application. And it's also a limitless and evolving part of our business. It's putting us miles ahead of the competition. We're up against companies that mainly use off-the-shelf products and cookie cutter products that might work on certain types of machines. But there's hundreds of types of machines out there that, I couldn't see how cookie cutter products could work across the board. And that's mainly one thing that we became really good at, is customizing our delivery systems or our nozzles to specific machines. Because you're going to have situations where there's limitations on sizes, or you've got to get into a certain area that maybe just your typical lock line nozzle wouldn't get into.
So when y'all design something like that, y'all actually design it like on a computer program, and then you literally manufacture and build those parts yourself in your own shop, or what do y'all do?
We use SolidWorks, which is, I think, one of the best 3D CAD modeling systems out there. And for instance, we deal a lot with machine builders, so they'll actually send us the files of the machine that they're building, and I can incorporate a lubrication system and a delivery system into their machine and actually do it blind. And whatever we create on SolidWorks, we take that and machine it back in the back with our own CNC machines and machine shop. So we're actually able to take the machine and virtually have it here in our office and retrofit what we need to make it a successful application.
Now, and this is one of the huge things that actually differentiates y'all from a lot of your competition, because a lot of them they don't have the ability to do this, or they just don't take the time and enough customer care to do this.
I imagine it's probably cheaper to sell cookie cutter products off the shelf than it is to take the time to design something that's actually going to perform better.
And then actually send a Maglube rep there to actually install it and test it and make sure it's working.
Correct. We want to install it correctly. Because it's one thing to have the system that is going to work and pump lubricant when it needs to, but that doesn't matter a hill of beans if you're not getting the proper delivery system to actually deliver the lubrication to exactly where it needs to go. And you kind of got to have both of those working hand in hand for it to be a successful application. Used properly, you're going to be using ounces a day. That's all going to be consumed in the cut. No overspray, dry parts, no stained parts, as opposed to gallons, and opposed to a messy shop that's just flooded with hazardous coolant. So used properly, it's a more dry, safe environment with better finishes, and it's really effective in reducing costs across the board, not only in lubricant uses, but also dry chips have more value, and also extended tool life, which saves however much money in the manufacturing process. As long as you have to have a system that works with the machine, that our system's going to do what the machine tells it to, when to activate, when the cut is being made. You got to have a delivery system that is going to hit every point of lubrication it needs to accurately and at the right angle. And on top of that, depending on what kind of tooling you're using and what kind of metal you're cutting, we've got several different lubricants that, one works great with aluminum. It's probably one of the best out there in the market. We've got some that work for more tricky metals like, Inconel or nickel. We've got lubricant that works with steel. We've got 300L. MD200 is our medium duty lubricant, and that generally works with just about everything. It's just a general purpose lubricant, and it does really well on most all applications. HD is our heavy duty if you're doing steels, things that have a lot of heat, a lot of pressure. HD's got that extreme pressure additive that will kind of quench that heat a little bit more and give you a little better cut when you're working with some tricky things. Our 300A has been great on stamping and roll forming. Any non-ferrous metals, 300A has been really good on.
Contact us today to upgrade your manufacturing process.